Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. What the? Andy, can you take some water? We can try. Wow. Whoa. Can we edit all that out?
No, we
it's
don't
embarrassing.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Brotherly Love Podcast. Happy birthday to you. I'm just gonna stand here and sort of sit here and just say and stare at you guys.
Andy, can you do me a favor? Every time you talk, while we're talking, can you move more of your hair out in front? This just becomes more and more hair.
All right, guys, we are back.
We are back.
Brotherly Love Pod. Happy Friday, everybody,
And happy
birthday.
Happy 50th episode,
Show birthday.
everybody.
Yes, 50th show birthday to the pod.
I was enthusiastic.
We're 50 episodes old, everybody.
I was
Wow.
extremely enthusiastic about today's episode until you two schoolyard bullies showed up.
What? What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, we were messing with him and his hair.
It's finally.
Oh gosh,
Andy, it's
way to
because
damper the happy birthday to the
Well,
pod.
you guys
we have a
were
cake here for
bullying
everybody
me.
listening.
you know maybe later we should maybe even light it and
Oh,
sing a little song.
What do you mean? We are gonna light it.
Oh, boy.
We're gonna sing to the pod.
Oh boy.
We're gonna eat some cake and
Nice.
we're gonna
And
have
celebrate.
Fun. We're gonna
and honestly celebrate all of you
give you guys
for getting us here.
an opportunity.
Celebrate good times. Come on.
We're gonna celebrate
and have a good time.
Celebrate good times. Come on.
That was
That was
gonna
pretty
need
damn
some
good, Andy. And
auto-tuning.
where's the third part?
It's gonna need.
It's hiding behind
We
these locks
got
of
a
hair.
party going on right here.
Oh my lord!
celebration
to last throughout the year. So bring your friends and your
watch
family
our
too.
pod.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Come on, Andy. I'm just going to sit back here and just have everybody adore me like they normally
And he's
do.
gonna be Cousin It soon. His hair is just gonna completely cover his face. Hey, I celebrated, Ann. I wish I could grow my hair that long.
Me too,
My hair's
man.
like very long, guys.
It's long and thick and
For now,
luscious and
It's
beautiful. You said it at the same time.
It is.
Beautiful hair.
So can
My
you
hair's
believe?
my hair's like the Teenage Mutant
This
Ninja
has
Turtles.
been like pretty much a year. We're a little shy of a year doing this. But let's put it this way.
Well, 'cause you've done it every week.
Radioactive.
we came up
52
with
weeks
the
in a year.
idea
Yes.
about this time
Yes.
last year's when we were finally, should I say, we decided to do
Right.
a podcast
Right.
about this time last
We
year.
came
which
up with
is
the idea
crazy.
during the lockdowns and COVID
Yep.
because we were like, what?
Yep.
What are we going to do?
What are we gonna do?
We have to do something.
We
and all
constantly
these
are talking.
and all these
Yep.
podcasts were popping up.
Yep.
Yeah.
They were.
And everybody and their mother had podcasts.
Yep.
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 So we thought we would just throw our hats into the ring.
Yeah.
Yes. The little pod about nothing.
Joe.
And you know what's funny is that we were like, oh, what's the matter with you? What?
know.
I was touching my face
He's
with
just
my
playing
fingers.
with
He
his
didn't like it.
chin. It looks awesome.
This dimple gets bigger as I get older. It just starts to crater more. So I'm like,
Wanna hear
wow.
something weird?
What?
You see how I sort of have a dimple?
Yeah.
I don't have a dimple. That's a scar. From
Oh.
when I was running in Diane's front yard with her dog chasing me, and I didn't see a ledge. Do you remember that? And I
Wait, Aunt Diane.
yeah, Aunt Diane.
Yeah,
And
New
I went-
York.
in New York, and I went right off the edge.
Hey, Aunt Diane and Uncle Malcolm.
How you doing, guys?
How are you? How you doing in New York? Go ahead.
Yeah, I love
That's
it.
how our Aunt Diane talks. She's the best.
Oh yeah,
All right, go
she's
ahead.
the best. She's
right.
been mom's friend since college.
Best friend for
That
a long
doesn't
time.
matter. Let's
I
not say
literally,
how
you know what
long.
I
Yeah.
love? I love hearing mom talk behind a door to Diane because her, thick accent comes back out.
Yeah.
And they just go back and forth. Can you believe this?
I cannot believe
I
it.
can't believe
You
it.
telling me that's
Yeah,
how it is?
it's amazing.
That's not how it
They're
is.
constantly talking about her
Yep.
her beautiful
Baubles.
daughter, Noelle.
What? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Noel.
And Noelle's babies
right,
and all
the
that stuff.
babies
Good
and,
shout out
that's
to the
good
East
stuff.
Coast right there.
East Coast. Yes.
I
Anyway,
miss
you were
it.
saying so you were running in the front yard.
So I was running, and
I remember that.
and
And
their
there was
dog.
a ledge that you couldn't see.
you couldn't see
because it was grass on grass.
Right, and it was in the winter, so you really couldn't see much. And I just went right off, landed right on my chin, and that's
Yeah.
how I had.
And then you used the opportunity to get a new chin, and so they
Right.
paid a little extra for this
No, it's
dimple.
like, I have like a Jay Leno chin now.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Didn't Jim Carrey do that in like Me,
Oh,
Myself, and
yeah.
Irene or
Yeah,
something?
he got a new chin to look. That was
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. Anyway, well, mine's not. Mine's just a dimple, and it gets.
no,
it
you have a
biggers.
real dimple.
Dimpers. It gets dimpers. I get bigger. No, it
Do you
gets,
remember
it gets
when
deeper
John
as I get older.
Used to play around? He used to store food in there. He was like, "You want to put something in?"
Travolta's
dimple?
dimple's iconic.
It's huge.
The best.
Yeah.
The best.
I
Yeah.
remember that.
But
I don't know where we were going.
No, what we were going is that,
Guys
over COVID, we
two
were
strange
trying to figure out
birds.
what the heck we were supposed to do.
You know that?
Yeah.
And we were just like, what do we do?
Strange.
So we jumped into this little pod game, and it's so funny because we were with that other company, right? And everything is fine, everything, but then there was that moment where, like, because of the strike and all this stuff was going on, and they had to shut down, and we were like, well, we don't want to shut down. So, and our show's not about Hollywood anyway. We're just shooting the shit here, talking about, God knows what.
No, to be honest, too, we had promised over the course of about, 10 or 20 episodes we were going to be every Friday.
That's right.
And we just didn't want to
we actually didn't want to let you guys down.
And you know what, too? I don't think we wanted to let ourselves down because we were having so much fun. It really had brought us back together.
Yep.
And I don't think we wanted to stop that.
Yep.
So we decided, you know what? We're going to move it to the basement.
Yep.
And it became this whole kind
Rebrand it. New logo.
New logo.
By the way, new theme song coming at you soon. We got a brand new song.
We do.
Which
Andy
actually
cracked something that
We
is
do.
really
wait,
cool.
we skipped over something. I want to give a shout out to Melissa, who actually posed this question on my Instagram as to how and why the pod actually did that changeover. So I just want to say, Melissa, thanks for the question.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's right, because we went to our stories and said, hey, everybody, give us some topics or questions that you want for the big 50th episode party.
We got so many amazing questions. We're not able to answer them all.
No, but we will take you through some of them today.
But we might put them on the AMA on our Supercast.
Yes.
And do it that way.
As well.
To kind of follow up with some of the questions we don't get to today.
Because it means so much to us that you guys take the time to do that when we ask you to do it.
That was so cool. But Melissa, thank you for an amazing question. That was weird. It was like a little ghost in the studio.
Yeah, that was... what was that?
That was the forks and knives for our cake
They
eating.
just
They just moved.
You didn't kick the table?
Joe.
I didn't kick the table.
I didn't touch the table. Uh-oh. We have a studio ghost.
Woo! Casper,
the friendly
ghost. Of course, the friendly ghost.
Yes.
Of course.
Anyway, so Melissa, thank you. And that's kind of how it sort of happened. The strike, shut the company down that we were with, and we didn't want to stop. It wasn't our show that was shut down.
No.
We didn't want to stop. So we were like, you know what? And everybody, it ended very graciously, but we just decided to move it over here. We got a new team. Speaking of which, Sam behind the cameras here that you don't get to see.
Give us a wave,
Sam is like the wizard from Wizard of Oz. You know, like when you get to Emerald City, you're like, who's there? And then all these flames. Hello. And that's Sam.
Yep. And
he runs the whole board and everything.
Our incredible friend that we actually met through Andy, Tim Schaff, who came on board, who's a part of the movies and stuff we did. He helped us out tremendously and has been such, a great influence on us in this pod. Mm-hmm. He's a big reason as to why we're here today doing this. He's the one who encouraged us and really helped us to get it back out there. Yep. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Sam. That's the team behind it.
It's our little mini team. But I'll tell you something. When you have really great people, you don't need a lot of them.
That's very true.
Ideally, we will grow this into an obtuse beast at some point. But for right now,
a lot of gluttonous people we don't need.
A lot of frivolous spending. A lot of stuff going on.
No, we're never going to do that. We don't have the
we wouldn't
ability
do
to do that.
It's not smart. We would never do that.
No.
But it has been really cool to take this in-house, to do it independent style, to continue to do it, and to have you guys react to it the way you have. And for us to be at 50 episodes, like that's like a benchmark. Because you get to 50, then you get to 100. It's like you did something. Because
we're doing it.
A lot of them try and they don't get there.
I know, it's hard.
It really is solely based on the support of all of you amazing people 100%. Out there that watch and support us and write us. And, it's just the way it works. There is nothing without you guys. So we're so grateful on this 50th episode.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
For you.
I didn't even think we'd make it to 50.
Oh, gosh.
But because...
Let Andy talk a little bit. We're not going to talk for like a minute. Just let Andy talk.
That's nice.
Let the bah humbug of the
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, I really didn't think we were going to make it to 50. But because of all of the positive support and reaction, we're not going to stop. It's been rejuvenating, and it's been humbling, and it's been really cool. And what a blessing to see everybody tune in week after week and encourage more.
Yep.
And that's why we're here.
Ain't no stopping us now.
Yep. And it's also very cool, too, because, we just get to have this weekly time together.
Yeah.
And it's really great. Because, our lives can pull us in all sorts of different directions.
Isn't that the truth?
And also, too, you know what it has allowed us to do?
Get these awesome mugs
Yes,
that say the
that's
Brotherly
right,
Love
Andy.
Pod.
Yes.
Good call. That's
Pod.
Andy, by the way.
Yep.
Andy got those mugs made.
Really cool mugs. First,
they're
you got,
one-offs.
hold up the coasters.
Oh yeah,
many.
the coasters. Look at these bad boys.
He also got himself a hat, which
I
I'm a
did.
little bummed about because we didn't get the hats.
I do.
See, we're independently financed, so Andy stopped it. I shared my mug
It was a
order.
beta test.
I
However,
shared my coaster order.
I was beta testing this stuff, guys.
Yeah.
True.
At some point, this merch will probably be mass produced.
Yes,
Exactly.
what do
No,
you
and
mean?
let
It will
us
be.
know. Let us know actually what kind of merchandise
Do you like what
would
you
like
see?
to have
Do you
on the
like-
possible future store.
What you
The
see?
Brotherly Love Pod store that will be coming up.
Actually,
we can
speaking
talk
of
about
that,
the new
speaking of that,
logo
we talk-
here.
Well, we can talk about the logo.
We
but-
like it more. That's why it's changed. We think it's just more
did
fun and
somebody ask that-
original.
ask
Yeah,
the
I got a
question?
question. Like, why did the logo change?
Do you know who
okay.
shouted that out to you?
I don't know specifically. I can look though.
Look it up and shout out when you.
Well, there's
when
a
you
couple
can.
things. There's a couple things. Yeah, we like this more. This was kind of more of and
Our
Joe had
vibe.
a
I
lot
was a
of-
big Miami Vice.
Yeah,
fan.
Joe had a lot of
Oh,
influence here.
man.
So go ahead, Joe. Take
If
it.
you've
I just
if
love
you've
the Miami
heard
Vice
any
spirit.
episode of the pod at all, you'll probably know that Joe is a Miami Vice fan.
I
Take
wanna
it away,
remake
Joey.
Miami Vice. I want to bring Miami Vice back to television.
You don't have to go through the whole spiel again.
not-
I'm just that was it.
I
That
want
was
to play
enough.
Crockett. That's it. Anyway, the point is, I loved that era, and I loved the color combo of like that Miami's pink and the Miami
This
turquoise.
is definitely Joe's influence.
Yeah. I just loved it, man. I love that show so much. It was so ahead of its time. Anyway, so that inspired us to sort of create the vibe, the color scheme based off of sort of Miami Vice.
Yeah.
which is what.
And
it
also
was.
too, we didn't craft the actual like this is us.
Yeah.
And when we made this, but we didn't actually craft that other one. And we
No.
didn't actually craft those letters. And those
No.
letters were kind of pulled from other things. And we wanted to be original. So that
Yep.
was the original take.
and the studio's more us.
The
That other
studio's-
studio was just
No.
sort of like a blank canvas. When we were there, it was used by other shows too.
Absolutely.
This is all,
Way more
all of us. I
personalized.
mean, these
It's-
are everything you see in here is us. You know?
100%.
Yeah.
And also, too, one cool aspect of having it in our house was it made us a lot more flexible.
Did.
We were able to have a lot more friends come over. It's
Right.
way more personal. I
Right.
feel like the guests tend to open up more because,
do.
they're at our house. They're hanging out in the kitchen. We're getting them snacks. Like, it's a much cooler vibe.
It's 3 a.m. right now, and none of us are wearing any pants.
That's right.
Cut to the wide.
That's I thought this was the,
And
only,
we've
the
all-
audio version only.
We've all been drinking. No, I'm
right.
kidding. It's
No.
No,
more-
actually, and
I know.
speaking of that, since we're here and we've been in this new place for a while now, and it's been so much fun, I get asked, and I know you guys do too, and we took to our stories and said, please give us topics or questions that you have for our big 50th episode. Bratty31, and that's what she refers to herself as, so I'm not saying Bratty31,
Okay.
said, will we get a live pod tour
Ooh, this is
and
big.
more music from the brothers?
I got this
What's
one,
in
too.
store? Please tell us. So,
Yeah, I got this, too.
we're
We're
the point
testing.
is,
We got a beta test of a live tour
yes,
coming up
we have one coming up.
in March. What?
March.
March, what was it?
15th to the 17th, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. And it's in where?
Well, now you're going to look it up now. I will look it up.
Okay.
While you put
But
me on the spot.
basically, it's at this thing called Galaxy Con,
Yes.
which are these cons, and they were gracious enough to ask us to beta test our live tour at one of their events.
Correct.
And that's what we're going to do.
Yep.
We're going to have a lot of special guests. It's going to be super cool. It's
gonna be
super
awesome.
fun.
Yep.
Sam will be coming with us. I think you just found out about this right now.
What?
But you will. Clear those dates out,
We
Sam.
can't do this without you,
You're going to be
Sam.
flying right with us in the same row.
Yep. Oh,
Oh.
yeah, buddy. So Richmond, Virginia,
Richmond, Virginia, Galaxy Con
15th through the 17th.
of March. Coming up
Yes.
soon, guys.
Coming up soon. Anyway, so
That's
we're going to
gonna
have
be
our
fun.
first live episode of the pod from there.
And maybe we'll even do
A song.
a live
We'll
performance
see.
of maybe this new song.
We'll see if my voice is in good shape.
Because that's another thing we should bring up.
Yeah.
We're doing a new title track.
We
that
do.
Andy wrote. It's super cool.
Super
very
cool.
rock.
Yep.
Very us.
Yeah.
Joe and I have actually been laying on some vocals recently on
Yep.
it.
Been saving it. I'm going to save this with a solo.
Actually, I
Remember that
loved
from Step
loved
Brothers?
your verse. Obviously, Andy, kills it every time.
Yeah.
But I loved your verse you put on. I heard it last night.
Oh,
Super
cool.
cool.
Thanks,
I
man.
wasn't here when Andy and Joe recorded Joe's verse.
Yeah.
Really like
We
it.
can't-
I got to
Great
keep them.
job.
I got to keep them separate. They can't ever be in the same room.
That's so
normally
not
together.
true.
Of course we can.
So not true.
Oh, of course we can. But
Anyway, that's going to be super fun.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
gonna be
excited
fun.
about that.
So we're looking
guys.
forward to that. So yes, there is a tour. Yes, there is new music.
Yep.
And Bratty31, thanks for that.
Yep.
Thanks for that question.
Very
So,
cool. Andy got one?
Sure. I mean, this is one that pops up a bunch of times. Gabe Tricks asked about it. Fearless Dreamer 09 has asked about it. Anyway, to name a few.
Okay.
But the horse sense jumping ship discussion, basically.
Okay.
Some additives on that. And the reason that pokes out to me is because this hat that I'm wearing actually is the hat from Jumping Ship.
No way.
Yeah. And I actually,
way!
it's from the costume department in
so
Australia.
Cool. Oh my!
There's like the
God.
opening of the movie. I'm riding a horse and it takes place in Montana. And
looks so much bigger in that movie.
yeah.
Because Andy was so
I
much
was
smaller.
Well, to be honest with you, I actually have to get there's like a hat stretcher.
Oh, yeah?
And yeah, because I rediscovered this
Well, they-
hat.
That's super cool.
We're-
Hat stretcher.
it's
They
a
just
piece
put
of-
it out in a little gurney.
No,
You're not
yeah,
that kind of
no,
stretcher,
yeah,
you idiot.
no.
No,
You know
I'm kidding.
what's a
No.
bummer?
So
You know what's a
this-
bummer? I literally just thought about this right now. I had. Do you remember my little walkthrough in the horse sense? Remember when I walked through?
Yeah, your little
And they had that
cameo.
cowboy hat.
Your cameo.
You know, I held on to that darn thing until my divorce. I
Wow.
lost it now.
You lost it in the divorce?
Yep.
I want this and that damn hat you wore in your cameo in Horse
I
Sense.
literally just.
Why? Why
I
did?
lost.
Why does the
I
attorney
lost
want
a bunch of
this?
stuff because I was just like,
I want the hat.
Turns out
You can't have
the attorney
that.
was a big fan
It
of
was
this
a
movie.
breaking point.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, it wasn't even for my ex; it was for her attorney. She wanted it. I didn't know. I just wanted to know. I just had to get out. I had to do it. It's so weird. But that's a very weird story.
Yeah,
wow.
it's true. Though. I had it all that time.
Wow, it's
but
crazy.
then-
So Andy, you had to have
Before
your hat
I was so
stretched.
rudely interrupted by that,
Sorry.
that
Sorry, just made me
uplifting.
bummed out because I would have had it. I could have gone and get it right now.
Before that uplifting
Sorry,
ad.
guys.
For
Yeah.
that anecdote that changed everything.
This hat was worn in Jumping Ship.
Yes.
And it's pretty dope, let me tell
It
you.
really
it's
is
an
dope.
authentic Outback hat.
Wow.
So cool, man.
yeah, and
what a
cool.
trip, guys.
Wow, right?
Really
So
cool.
So Horse Sense was this movie that Joe and I did.
Yep.
It was actually pretty damn good.
Our mom put that
yeah,
together.
Mom put it
actually.
together.
She produced
So
that.
actually, and this is a funny anecdote. Chad and
Carrie
Hayes,
Hayes, our brothers.
our brothers
They
wrote it. They
right.
wrote that and
So
Jumping Ship,
cool.
I believe,
did.
and
They
they
did.
later on wrote the Conjuring franchise, which is pretty. I mean, that's pretty good.
It's really good. It's a little different
Well, it
than
shows
Horse
you
Sense.
Quite the
yeah,
opposite.
Yeah.
what vast talents they are, right?
The
They have a lot
experience of making
pulling.
Horse Sense Jumping Ship made them so angry.
They wrote the Conjuring.
And they channeled all that into a little franchise called
I'm
The
a
Conjuring.
fan. I'm a fan. All I'll
No,
say
no.
is Chad, Carrie Hayes.
They're great. No,
Let's,
they're great.
let's
but
do
yes,
something.
Very,
They were actually
That's
very
motocross
diametrically
champions.
opposed.
They were motocross champions in
That's right.
the 80s. They were actually on an episode of Give Me a Break, believe it or not.
What?
Chad and Carrie Hayes. Both very good looking dudes.
Really?
Both like model
dudes.
looking
Are
guys.
they, are they? They're not twins. Twins, right?
They are.
Wow.
Yes.
I had no idea.
They're
That's
awesome.
just so cool.
And
Such cool
years
dudes.
later, we ran into them, and Mom. Everybody loves Mom,
course.
so we ran into them.
Our mom is
literally
the type of mom.
outside of William
we
Morris.
would walk by stores on Ventura
Oh.
Boulevard and the people
Ventura Boulevard, Beverly
Anywhere.
Hills, everywhere.
anywhere in different
Everywhere we
cities.
go.
It was odd.
Yeah.
and people would come out of the stores going, "Oh my God, tell
Donna!"
your Donna or tell your mom we say hello." And all
Yeah.
this
It's
stuff.
funny as a kid, I used to get so embarrassed by it, but now I'm looking back and thinking, oh no, that was beautiful. Like
So
she just
cool.
was a very warm, welcoming
cool.
human being.
Amazing.
She is still a warm,
Well,
welcoming
I know.
being.
So
man.
she was. Now she's a.
now she's a cold-hearted beep.
No.
No.
But so anyway,
No,
so
she's
we
the
ran
best.
into them, and of course, in Mom's fashion, they
She's
were like,
the best.
Donna, they're like, Chad, Carrie. I was like, wait, these guys look kind of familiar. Who are these guys?
Mom
And
crushed that. She-
yes,
yeah.
and she goes, "Oh my God, you're writing! Oh my God, we're putting together a movie for the boys!
Yep.
Oh my God, let's come up with something!" And
Wow.
literally,
Boom.
Horse Sense was born.
was born.
And at the
Greg,
time,
Greg Beeman, I think
Greg Beeman,
directed
I
that.
drink.
I drink.
Andy's been drinking.
I've been
again.
drinking it.
Greg
It's been a
Beeman,
long day.
who directed one of my favorite movies as a kid growing up called License to Drive.
Oh my!
And then he also
goodness.
created and was responsible for Smallville
He
and a
was.
bunch of
Oh,
really. And he did
wow,
recently
wow.
He
something
just
really
did that,
amazing.
the secret, on Disney Plus.
It's fantastic. He's fantastic.
Oh, my
He's
God,
really
I
good.
gotta-
Anyways, that was really cool.
Anyway, it was a great project at the time. It just
Yeah.
it broke all kinds of records on the Disney Channel. It did
did.
super well.
It did.
And so we made a sequel, and the sequel was Jumping Ship,
Jumping
and that took
Ship.
place in Australia, and that's where that hat's from.
Yeah.
And that was what the
Trip.
trip
What a
Matt was
trip.
talking about, which was a pretty memorable trip.
I got lost in the outback for a couple months there after that movie.
Yeah, you did.
Wow.
Well,
I
you
mean,
went 2 weeks early,
I went 2 weeks early.
Yeah.
Well, just because
grew all this hair.
I did. I
showed up to set with this head of hair.
I did. It was.
Yeah.
Oh man, what an adventure! One of the great adventures of my life.
Yeah, it was
And-
really fun.
And especially at that time, too. I mean, even to think about 2000 to now, how the wildlife and nature has changed. They've had a
Mhm.
lot of wildfires. I got to experience Australia in such a pure way. And when it comes to reptiles and amphibians, there's not really too many continents on the planet that have such a diverse, incredible community of reptiles.
Yeah.
I just saw the
We
coolest
were on
stuff.
down on the Gold Coast, right?
One of my favorite spots.
Yeah.
And then I went from Sydney and I drove all the way up to Cairns in that time when you guys had to go home, and I get
Yeah,
it. But I
we
went
did.
from Cairns from Sydney all the way to Cairns. I mean, all these little
The film
all
festival
these
in
little-
France? No, I'm kidding.
No,
You idiot! There's a Cairns in Australia.
it's very tropical up there. It's where the Great Barrier Reef is, or the best parts of it. And again, the Barrier Reef was much healthier back then. I went to the place called Lizard Island. It was just the most incredible trip.
Island.
I mean, I saw venomous snakes. I saw Aussie water dragons, bearded dragons. I caught bearded dragons, and one actually was so friendly it hung with me for days. And I was like, okay, I got to put you back in the wild, little buddy. And
When he spoke to you, though, that's when you knew
I mean, the
something was weird.
koalas holding
Don't
koala,
do it. Don't do
holding
it, man.
koala bears, literally sitting on the
Oh,
grass
yeah,
and
mate.
being surrounded by
Unbelievable, yeah.
kangaroos, seeing the little joeys in the pouches. Oh man, I have just what an experience, guys.
Man,
it
put
was
me
really
on,
fun.
put me
Seeing
on your
the
shoulder.
Aboriginal
Let's go for a
culture,
walk, pal.
learning to boomerang,
Yeah.
learning
The
to
didgeridoos.
didgeridoos.
I got a
Andy
few
still
of them.
does. Yeah,
Yes.
we still got
I got
them.
a
I
couple.
brought. That was the hardest part though, bringing it back for Andy. Oh my goodness, but that was an authentic. That wasn't the one you get at
Right.
the like touristy spots.
No.
That was from a guy in the outback, from an
crazy.
actual Aboriginal
Crazy.
didgeridoo player and maker. And you know how they do it? There are these trees with these roots that are shaped like that and they're hollow. So they have to go and they find the tree with the specific root. And then they take that little piece. They don't kill the tree. They just take the little piece of root that they need that's, about 4 or 5 to 6 feet long that has the right shape to create that vibration that gives you the sound. And then
They hire a bunch of termites and instruct them to whittle out the center of these root
Australian
branches.
termites? They're very kind, and they love
No, but
barbecuing.
it was such an amazing, the culture, the people. I mean, I stopped at these little towns, Burley Heads. Big shout out to Burley Heads. What an amazing little spot. I mean, oh my gosh, I absolutely fell in love with it. I wanted to have a place there one day.
Yeah,
Anyway, such an amazing trip.
it was. No,
And
it
getting to
was really,
experience the Gold Coast with you guys. Remember the hotel we stayed at?
Yeah, it was great.
Man, we
beautiful.
had
It's on
so
the water.
much fun.
It was so
Oh,
great, dude.
we had so much
No,
fun.
I remember that we rescued Tiffany, our dog, which
That's
was named
right.
after, which we've said before, but we named her after the boat in Jumping Ship because the boat that your character had was the
Oh, it
Tiffany.
was the Tiffany.
And so we found this amazing little dog.
She was an Australian blue heeler mixed with a black lab.
Yes, and
And she was like
incredible.
$5 or something.
Yeah.
$20.
$20.
I bought her for
Dude.
$20.
She was literally
US dollars.
in a box with a couple other puppies.
Yes,
Yeah.
$20
I know.
US dollars.
I know, man.
She was literally the most remarkable animal
Yeah.
ever. But
She
the
lived till she
hotel,
was 16.
I can say this now.
Yeah.
The hotel, in full transparency, didn't allow dogs.
No, so we were moving
Sneaking
her
her
around
in.
from room to room
Right.
so that nobody would catch on as to
Yeah.
where she was.
That's right. And we had her
Right.
there for like 4 weeks.
I know.
Mhm.
And then we got her home, and
Then we got her
she thrived and did so great.
She
and
was
loved
the
Jack.
sweetest
Remember
dog.
that? She loved
Oh
Jack.
my gosh. She never
she
problem
loved
with
Dakota.
anybody. Yeah. She never had a problem with anybody.
It was really cool.
Super smart, super sweet. Always wanted to. She would read you because the blue heeler is a cattle dog, so she would read your thoughts and stuff.
Yeah.
She would know, when you were going out the door.
Yep.
It was amazing.
No, she was
an
an
amazing
incredible
dog.
animal, and it was one of the greatest. I think the greatest trips we ever had as a family, but certainly the greatest work. One of the greatest work experiences as a family.
Yeah, it was
like we've ever had.
amazing.
It was an amazing time, and Disney Channel was in its heyday. And
Yeah.
it was just it was a
Remember
bunch of heyday.
We were
moments,
filming
you
out
know?
on a boat and we were caught in a
Oh,
storm,
my-
Yes!
a
A
tsunami.
100-year storm.
Yes.
First off,
Yes.
and then that they actually, by the grace of God, found a guy because we were done. That boat would have capsized. It was not the kind of boat you
I
could
think
have.
it did capsize.
It did capsize. And
Because it was a
remember that-
houseboat, like
Yeah,
way
it wasn't-
out in the
it
middle.
wasn't supposed to be
yeah.
there. And
No.
remember how we had the guy who was the water guy?
Yeah.
And he was freaking out because the bull sharks, because
Yes.
the rain had gone so heavy that all the rivers were emptying out, and that's when the bull sharks come around. They were like, we can't jump it. When that guy got scared and was like, we
I
can't
know.
jump in this water, I was like, oh my
I know.
gosh,
I know.
this guy's getting
I
scared.
know. That was really freak out time.
And by chance, by the grace of God, there was that guy who had this super boat,
Remember that?
Mhm.
Yes.
and he floored. And we were going
Yes.
like 60 knots to
Mhm.
get out away
It
from
was
the
like
storm.
Miami Vice. It was like the Scarab
It was
boat.
Unreal.
crazy.
We
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
very lucky.
We
We,
did.
literally got rescued.
When we were
did.
and we drove back. I just remember we were driving back to the hotel.
The
and
roads were
the
gone.
roads were
they
crashing.
were gone, man.
It looked like we were driving on the beach,
Yep.
but it was
It did.
the highway.
Yep, the roads the next day were gone. We had to
No,
shut down for filming for a
was-
few days. We
it
couldn't
was
move.
Wild.
It was wild.
It was really
man.
awesome times.
Yeah,
It was
the
wild.
ocean had merged with the hotel pool, which
It
was a
did.
saltwater pool, by the
Yes.
way. Do you remember that?
I do remember.
It had merged.
Yeah,
You
I
couldn't see
remember
the
that.
difference. It was crazy.
Dude, that
man.
was so crazy.
Remember
I
that
just
bit.
remember the whole trip started off crazy for me because 33,000 feet in the air, I had a tooth abscess.
Oh,
remember that?
My.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess I had a little cavity that I didn't know,
Oh,
and
my
the
gosh.
pressure and the altitude created an abscess.
Oh my gosh.
If anybody's had an abscess tooth, it feels like a bullet went through your
it
head.
is, man.
There's no relief. There was a doctor on the plane. They gave me an 800 milligram ibuprofen. Didn't touch it.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
I was in so much pain. Do you remember that we when we landed, they had an ambulance at the.
I don't know
Yeah.
this because
Oh.
I was already
I
there.
You're not with
remember.
us, that's
I
right.
was there, yeah.
So the ambulance pulls up. I get in the
Unreal.
ambulance. They take me right to a dentist.
Wow.
I was in so much pain. It was like 8 hours because that trip was what? How long is that
14
flight?
and a half,
right.
15
So it
hours.
hit me about halfway through.
Oh my gosh.
So I was in so much pain that when I'll never forget it.
Oh,
when I
man.
went to the dentist, they had called ahead. Production, thank God, had set it up. I run in there.
Oh,
She
man.
puts the Novocaine needle in.
And it's like,
As soon as the Novocaine needle in, I passed out
I'm sure.
because I was in so much pain. I was like, oh, and I woke up with my abscess fixed,
Wow.
and I was like, that's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
Sure.
I literally was in so I'll
oh
never
no,
forget.
I've been
it.
there.
So that's how that started for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what a trip.
Yep.
Amazing moments and memories
Yeah,
forever.
great
Thank you for
question.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
What other stuff we got? What other questions we got?
Well, I've got one
this 50th
from
episode.
Shelly Marie. What are your best and worst fan encounters, and what is your nighttime routine?
Oh, I got one of those. Best and worst fan encounters.
Well, Joe, you've got a crazy one. When you were going to those malls back on Blossom, and they collapsed.
Yeah. We've had stages collapsed. We were at a Sam Goody's in Paramus, New Jersey, and the glass wall on the outside of the mall started to crack because too many people were leaning on it because there was like 15,000 people there. The whole intersection had to be shut down.
Yeah.
They were trying to flip the limousine.
Oh yeah.
It was actually, and we had to get police escorts.
And they were ripping your clothes and your hair, dude.
Right.
I'll never forget that.
Ripping my
That
hair
was
out, my
wild
clothes for
stuff.
pieces of my leather jacket, my hair.
Yep.
And
Now, those would be on the worst side.
right.
Yeah.
But
I make
you know,
the joke that that's where your ripped jeans came from.
yeah, they ripped everything. That's why I'm going to rip everything. Everything's ripped.
And that's where my iconic look came from.
That's
Yeah,
right.
You crawl out
That's
and then
right.
the picture's taken.
People were like,
yeah.
"We love it." We're like, "Thank you." No, and but there were crazy stories. Remember at a lot of those autograph signing and stuff and everything. Remember, I remember never forget. People would ask you to sign very strange things.
Oh, that's right.
And there was one time where I came up and I was like, 16 at the time, and obviously we had to have security and all these things, and so it was some wonderful lady comes up and she was was very blessed in certain areas, and she pulls up her shirt and was like, "Will you sign these?" And I'll just never forget. I saw these boobs, and I was like, "What?"
Joe.
And then
oh
in
my
2
Lord.
seconds, security. Yeah, I was like, "Sign, gone."
Funny.
But
man.
yeah, I mean, I've been asked to sign everything. That was
I'm sure.
I still, that was so traumatic. I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
we had a lot of kids there and stuff, and she just went rogue, very, very, very rogue. But that was there was amazing stuff. There was a period of time there, 4 or 5 years where
sure.
it was,
That
yeah,
was insane.
it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and it got to the point as a family where, which this is a very double-edged sword. On one side, you're very happy and you feel blessed to be able to do the work and work with great people, but on the flip side, we couldn't go to markets, we couldn't leave our house.
Not for a while.
School became awkward. It
Yeah.
made things very. It's a very double-edged sword when it comes to that kind of
Yeah.
recognizability.
Yeah.
So and then
Yeah.
on the best side for me, Shirley, it's when people come up to me and say there were moments that you made my childhood.
Yes,
Or
I
you
get
are
that
a
too.
Part, you felt you were a part of our family, and there were moments like when it comes to Mrs. Doubtfire,
Right.
there were moments where our family was going through a divorce,
Right.
and that movie, even though our parents didn't get back together, that movie helped our family through it.
Yeah.
And we've been through a divorce. We
Yeah.
know how hard these times are, and
Yeah.
to be able to be a part of people's lives in that way is just the most touching and heartwarming thing that I could ever hope for or experience.
It's the best thing ever. How often do people come up to us, especially when we're together, and say, "Brotherly love was my childhood."
Yeah.
I mean,
Or that
show.
they've inspired siblings to reconcile because
Right.
of the relationship that we
Yes,
have. That
yes,
kind of stuff is
yes,
like we
yeah.
don't take that for granted.
No.
That really hits deep. We absolutely love that kind of stuff. I mean, because that's what it's all about for us. So
It is. It is.
super
Andy,
cool.
you're next, Andy. Hold on.
Thank you, Shelly, by the way.
Thank
Really
you,
appreciate
Shelley.
it.
No, I mean honestly, yeah. I mean, similar to what Matt said, the best interactions just come from when people share how it's affected them in a positive light, or that they appreciate it or like it or anything like that. That's really cool, and I always really get a good feeling when that happens. On the flip side, it would be probably and again, I don't now as an adult, I'm not going to have a bad interaction with a fan, but when I was a kid and those dudes were like real aggressive, coming after Matt and I and you and like and stalk. I mean, let's be real, they were stalkers. Like showing up at our school and sitting outside of our house in vans and like trying to do things that they shouldn't be. That stuff was definitely a traumatic time.
Scary
for sure.
Stuff. Yeah.
And just as being as a kid in particular, what is going on?
That was me.
Somebody.
That's Joe.
This ghost is insane.
That was
There's literally, it's like Haunted Mansion. There's somebody sitting next to Joe in this seat.
You know,
this opaque figure.
Like in the ride. When you go down there, there's someone's in your...
Yeah, anyway, so that's
lies.
Exactly.
Okay, anyway.
Okay.
No, but you're right. That was scary
stuff.
stuff.
Was crazy.
Yeah, that's
we had to have 24-hour security.
Yeah, we had
for a
private
while.
security. Well, I had to go on a field trip, and Mom was like, and honestly, at that point, especially with me, I had like I think my parents were traumatized, and rightfully so, and that equated to a lot of like, they just wanted to, and they were fantastic parents, so they would have been this way anyway. But it also, I think, established an even more aggressive pursuit to know where your child is at all times, and set boundaries. And like, I never really had the opportunity to go to a lot of just like even sleepovers or school trips or stuff like that. And I remember the one or two times that I did go on a field trip, I went to Magic Mountain, and I had my bodyguard. Like who was
enough as a kid.
Who was armed in the back of the bus, and he was walking around. He was an off-duty cop, but he was an armed guard with me the whole time. And I remember at times I'd end up hanging out with him. One, because I felt bad that he was even there having to do this, and two, because I think I was probably looked at as a bit of a weirdo because I had an armed guard.
Yeah, I went everywhere.
No, it was real.
Shout out to Lou Palumbo.
Lou Palumbo,
man,
Bob,
you have
Harry.
Yep.
Those guys
and the elite group.
The elite
have
group, Lou
literally
Palumbo, man.
saved our lives.
Yes, they have.
No joke. There were real predators out there.
Yes, there were.
As when we were kids, that were genuinely after us.
You guys genuinely saved our lives.
Man, we cannot thank you.
And you got us out of a lot of tough situations.
I won't.
And we're really thankful to you. So
I won't tell any specifics.
Lou's out there.
Yeah, those guys are.
Lou's out there, and he'll know what this means. It's not in the cards, Joe.
It's not in the cards.
It's not in the cards, Joe.
Is the man.
Joe.
I mean, he was. Yeah, I just remember he would drive around in a Suburban that was
super stud.
so well equipped.
Lou literally looked like he was in the movie True Lies.
Yeah, he was True Lies.
Like he was True Lies.
He was driving around in this.
He was Schwarzenegger, but like for real.
He would drive around in a Suburban, and I won't talk too much about it out of respect for Lou because I'm sure I shouldn't. But his SUV was weighed down in the back because he was so well equipped with like just everything, gallons of water and like a purifier.
And it was armored.
It was armored. It was a whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, but I will tell the story about. I think it was Harry that we were on. We had heightened security at Brotherly Love because we had a live audience, and again we had people coming after us and doing just being very aggressive, too aggressive.
Not just aggressive. I mean, they were making genuine threats that they were going to kidnap us, the
And
things they were going to do to us.
Yeah.
It was insane.
It was wild.
Imagine what it would have been like if there was social media.
Oh,
It would have been crazy.
wow. That's a
Really
whole
scary stuff.
different-
Yeah. So, well, anyway, but there was a guy that was out of line. I think with Liz, and he was like he was working on the show, but he was like a day player or something was going on where he wasn't normally there. Anyway, so Harry, said you got to be more polite, and he was like, "What are you going to do about it?" And this man, I've never seen.
forget it.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I'll never forget.
Palmed his face like a basketball.
I'll never
I swear to God.
forget that.
And somehow with one arm picked him up. And he picked this guy up and he kicked the door to the stage door open and threw him out. But I've never seen a human being literally palm a guy's face with his hand and just whipped him out of the sound stage.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome because let me tell you, this guy
was
being
rude. Really aggressive,
inappropriate
really
to
inappropriate.
a female
Yeah.
cast member in a sexualized way.
Yeah,
I think he slapped her and was doing stuff like
he didn't slap her, but
no, I mean like on the. You know
no,
what I mean?
he didn't. But I think
he did something. He
was
touched her
boozing
in
or something was weird. I don't know. I don't know the specifics. This is a long time ago. But I remember Harry kicked his ass, and he deserved it. So.
First of all, Harry too, which is a great
Such
name.
a cool dude.
Harry, Lou.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
You know,
these
love
guys
those guys.
were-
Bruce.
Yeah.
Remember Bruce?
Oh, Bruce.
Great,
So
man.
good, man.
So great.
He was
All right, so
SWAT.
I got
He
some
was-
questions.
He was SWAT.
I got some questions from Ashley, who's a super cool person, and reached out on Instagram, and she said that she asked me what my experience was like on Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. She wants to know, Joe, what your skincare routine is, because she just thinks your skin is
Because you're glowing.
Who is that? Ashley?
Yes.
No.
Thank you, Ashley.
Oh
Yeah,
my
and then
gosh.
she wants to
Thank
know
you.
how Andy prepared for playing a blind kid and going to the mat, and what that experience was like, because she thought you did a really, really great
Thanks,
job.
cool.
So
Wow.
I'll start with the
questions.
Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. You know, we had a buddy and a vocal coach, Steve Real,
Yeah.
on this show not too long ago, and it came up because at the time my dad was working and mom had to be with Andy and Joe, so I needed a chaperone because I was still 13 or 14 years old, and Steve and I bonded, and we had the most amazing time.
Yeah.
And I'll just remember, you know, what the experience was like is that was all anime in Japan, and then they would send it to us, and we'd do all the live action stuff, and we would knock out like 2 or 3 episodes in a day. And but really, it was the friendship that I developed with Steve at that time that I truly remember. It was a great experience. I mean, we had a blast. So that's what
so
Superhuman
cool.
Samurai Cyber Squad was like. That's
so
a
cool.
random one, but I tell you, it's got this cult following. I still get people asking me about Superhuman Samurai Cyber
crazy.
Squad. That was that era, you know,
Yeah.
with the Power Rangers
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It was great to be a part of it. You know, they only did like 20 or 30 episodes, and it still gets talked about.
You
It's
should bring
so
it back,
crazy.
so
buddy.
interesting.
Yeah.
it'd be super
You
cool.
bring that back, I'll bring back Miami Vice.
Thanks.
I do Vice.
Thanks.
And you do
Thanks, buddy.
Superhuman.
I appreciate that.
All right, Matt, you got to wear this suit, and Joe gets to dress in this suit. What?
He doesn't even get to
this-
wear the suit.
Right.
It's always.
Oh, that's right.
No, I don't get
That's right.
I just get sucked into the computer.
That's right, dude.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh my God, that's so
All
funny.
right, skincare routine.
Skincare routine. Well, gee whiz.
You whip out this
It's
whole.
natural, right? You're not doing anything to your face.
Never
right?
done
No.
anything to my face, but
And he
but-
finds all of his ingredients in gardens around the neighborhood.
There's a line that I really like that I found years ago called Caudalie. It's all natural. It's from France, and it's great. And I've been using it consistently. And I'm a big fan of. Well, here's the deal. Look, you know I don't drink a lot, and I don't smoke. I never smoke.
Yeah, that's a big one right there.
And I try to exercise, and I drink a lot of water. Right, so that's going to help a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I look, I'm getting older now, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words. And then, but this Caudalie stuff is fantastic. It is a fantastic line. There are some that are much more expensive. There are some that are a lot cheaper. This is sort of in the middle, but it's amazing. I mean, it absolutely works 100% natural. And I'm a big fan of hyaluronic acid, believe it or not, in its purest form. And you can get it pharmaceutical grade.
Andy's
for
laughing
most,
now.
For most dermatologists.
Give him
I
15 years.
I'm only laughing because I see myself going to get hydrochloric acid and like
No!
burning my
God,
face.
that was,
Yeah.
or just straight acid.
Did you ever see the first
Took care of the wrinkles, but I got no skin.
Batman '89?
Yes,
yes,
yes.
Oh,
yes.
that's great.
Oh,
scene.
he's
Great.
the
Yeah, that's what
Joker.
yeah.
Wait till they get a load of me.
Exactly.
No, Jack Nicholson, Joker,
Oh,
original Batman, best
great.
Batman.
Good.
But anyway, so hyaluronic acid in its purest form, you know, you see it in a lot of things, right? Like, but in its purest form, it's actually not very expensive. It's maybe like $30 a bottle, so it's not like crazy. But you can get it from either a good dermatologist or a great skincare person that you know. And man, it is amazing. You put it on after you wash your face when your skin is damp. And you just put it all over like it's like a serum.
What does it do?
It rehydrates. It flushes your cells full of water.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'll tell you, man, it really works.
Cool.
It really works. So
I'm starting to move into that
and
phase.
it's just diligence.
I'm gonna need
It's-
because I've never done anything.
no,
honestly.
no. Well, me either.
But I need
guys
to
guys
do-
really can't.
I need to get
because-
some sort of like serum or something.
Yeah,
'cause-
guys really can a lot of the time. I mean, they can and they do. But in my opinion, you got to be very careful, you know, guys, because if you do too much of the freezing or the cutting, you look like.
Oh
like,
yeah,
like-
I will never do
honestly,
that.
in my opinion, I'll
Never.
just say it. It looks creepy.
Yeah,
you know,
I
it
think
looks.
so.
I see some of these guys, and I'm like, what's going on here? They're like, nothing. You know, I can lick my ears. You know,
You gotta age
but-
gracefully.
but, you know,
you,
nah,
you gotta accept.
nothing at all. You know, yeah. Well, because they've been pulled, so you know, it's like, look at this. But you know,
Top of the Hut.
yeah, it's Top of the Hut. Yeah. But at any rate, so you have to be very careful with that. Now, look, I'm not opposed to doing things. I mean, if I get really, really trashed, I'm going to do something. You know, one of the things that I can't stand, not to get too vain.
Joe,
You know, like the
I
little
love you're
snacks?
insane. You don't have this.
No, but like
You're like, my old neck.
No,
Look at
no,
my
no.
old neck.
But
you
like
say
when
that all
the
the
guys
time.
they
It's
get
not
that
true.
neck, and then it's weird because like when they move, it's like the ball, like it's the opposite direction. It's just over here, and you go to button up a shirt, and it's hanging out of the
Flops over the shirt.
It's like
it.
it's
Becomes
like
its own being.
It's like a rooster,
Yeah.
And I don't that I would fix. That I would fix.
Yeah.
No, I don't want that. But anyway, that's what I do. Thanks
There
for your
you go.
question,
There
Andy.
you go.
I don't
Andy,
know.
going to the map.
How do I
prep.
follow that one?
Going to the map prep. That's the question.
Going
Yeah.
to
Remember?
What was your prep for playing a blind person?
well, where do I?
What if we got
start?
angry with him? You were blind. Just say it. They just start yelling at him, his big brothers. Tell us how you did it, and
Okay.
you played blind.
There was-
you couldn't see.
That movie was actually really
Calm
awesome.
down, guys. Calm down. All right.
It was very awesome.
Yeah.
The first
It was a
one of
very
the
awesome
things
movie.
that I remember was they set up a rest. We had a basketball, like a half court basketball thing in our old family compound, and Disney brought over a wrestling mat.
That's
Wow.
right.
And I had
That's right. I
I
remember
had-
Forgot
that.
about that.
Yeah, I had
Oh my
wrestling
gosh.
lessons like every day for like 3 or 4 months,
Super cool.
and learned how to wrestle. And by the end of it, I was getting pretty good. I was kicking ass, and I was
Well, Andy
getting
has
really
a
in
great
shape.
wrestling body.
He
He's
does.
built like a tank.
yeah, an
Yes.
anvil.
I was getting
Yes.
ripped.
Yep.
So that was really cool, and the experience of just that was fun. And then I worked. I also got an endorsement deal with a company called Boss first, and then Pearl, and they sent me drums and cymbals and stuff because in the movie I got to play drums. So that was really cool,
right.
and I have always loved that drum. And it kills me because when the parents got divorced, they split up. We lost like the moving truck. There was something happened, and we
I
lost
remember that.
one of the moving trucks. And on that moving truck
Ah.
happened to be all
Yeah,
of
we didn't lose it. That moving truck never showed up.
yeah, it was like
they
all
stole.
of my memorabilia
Yeah.
and all of those drums and cymbals. And the
Wow.
biggest heartbreak was a road case of a John Mayer's actual D38 Martin guitar. However, the guitar wasn't in there. I still have
Ah.
the guitar. They did take the road case though, which sucks because it was it was the actual guitar that he wrote a lot of his Roomfuls or the box Rooms of Squares record, the first
Yep.
one. I want to
Yeah,
run
Your
through
Body's a Wonderland.
all that stuff. Yeah,
that record.
and he played it on
Dude.
tour, and it's that
What a
guitar.
record.
Anyway,
That
shout out to
record
John Mayer.
is-
If you ever want that guitar, I got it, and I'll give it back to you.
But you got to
man.
come on the pod.
Yeah, but you got to come on the
Exactly.
pod.
You ain't getting the guitar.
little bit of
unless you come on this
ransom.
pod, Mayor.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why I'm so
No,
angry.
he's
I
so
just
good.
get so angry at
dude.
everybody.
Oh my god. Anyway, so that's like a cherished thing.
There's songs that he's written. I'm
So
just-
good. Anyway, so I digress.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I got a bunch of cool instruments, and I was learning to wrestle, and then I also worked with this guy named Tom Sullivan, who I think he was like an Olympic wrestler, and he was blind, and he told me a story. I'm not sure I should tell this story, but I'll tell it anyway.
It's the 50th episode, Andy.
Sure,
gotta
so I'll
do it.
tell
You
well,
gotta do
that
it.
He was blind and lost his eyes, and I believe he had a glass eye. And in one of the matches for the Olympic tryouts, or maybe in one of the Olympic matches, his opponent was not blind and was beating him, and he needed a distraction, so he popped his eye out, and it allowed him. It distracted
the upper
his
hand?
opponent
God.
Wow.
enough
Well,
that
you
it
know
allowed
what?
him a point of 3 seconds to get out of and he won the match.
Wow.
But
So, and
that's
he
so
was an
cool.
awesome guy. He actually had a German Shepherd that was his seeing eye dog, dude. And it was the coolest, like their relationship. And you would have loved this man. He was such a cool dude. They made a movie about him in the 80s. And I think the director of that movie actually directed Going to the Match. Stewart
Wow.
was great. That's the director. It was a really
Now,
cool
did
experience.
he give you any?
It was a
insight-
big movie too.
Did
Like
he
for
give you
that
any
time.
insight
Yeah.
into what was like to be blind?
No,
Did
of
you,
course.
Did you walk around a dark room? What did you do?
I mean, oh man, it's hard to explain really, but you just have to like figure out how to turn off your senses, and if you still have eyes, one of the misconceptions is that like you don't have blind people don't have dead eyes. You know what I mean? They're not like goofy eyed. I hate to say that, but they're not. They just can't see out of their eyes, so they're listening with their ears. So your head direction of a voice and all that stuff, you have to start relying on that, and like just pretend to turn off your vision and kind of let your eyes just drift, and then and focus with your other senses.
I have to say, and I'll say this not because you're my baby brother or anything, but honestly, your performance in that movie was tremendous.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was really good.
No, like,
Really,
dude,
really good.
It was
like
not bad.
this is back in the day
Yeah.
when Disney Channel, like Horse Sense and Jumping Ship and Going to the Mat and these movies,
We're
they
just
were making
some
they were
really
making
cool, original.
fantastic movies.
Yeah,
They
original.
were not
content.
catering stupid, silly things
Yeah.
for little kids.
No, I know.
They were making fantastic films that young people could watch.
Yep.
And that was a totally different mentality. Gary Marsh, who was in his prime over there, in his heyday over there,
Oh,
really
yeah.
that modus operandi for the channel at that time was quality entertainment for young
Well, it was
people.
family, too,
Yes.
entertainment.
Yes.
Not just kids could watch
No.
it. It was quality.
Just
you
like
know?
when we grew up.
Yep.
The movies that we grew up with, Goonies, Back to the Future,
Absolutely.
Ferris Bueller. Parents love these movies.
Yep.
These were not, this is not like kids running around making stupid jokes.
Yeah.
I often say Home Alone, I guess you could say that's
No, it's a family
it's a
movie.
family
It's a
movie.
totally different category.
they are not, this is not some goofy, silly movie that parents, you just can't stand going to, but your kids love it.
Yeah.
They weren't catered for kids. They were inspiring to kids. Kids could watch them. They were palatable for kids, but they weren't catered to little kids.
Right, exactly.
And I love that mindset because you don't need to play down.
Yep.
If anything, respect the fact that your audience, even your young people watching, are intelligent people.
Yep.
And you can actually come up with innuendo and you could come up with subtleties
Yep.
that they will understand. You don't have to force feed everything. I feel like with a lot of
100%.
young people's entertainment today, they almost just they take out the fact they have brains and they
Yeah.
can actually put two and two together. So now everything just services this lowest common mindset.
The bar's been
lowered so much.
The money's been pinched because it can
Yep.
be, because if you don't know better and you're selling to a market that doesn't necessarily have the experience,
Exactly.
More quantity,
it's
less
easier,
quality.
Yeah, it's
the whole
easier
thing.
to mass produce the product
is.
and make a
It
profit.
is.
However, yeah, to your point, it's a tragedy because those are the people that we should be taking care of the most.
Absolutely.
100%.
And
It's the
inspiring.
youth.
I mean,
Yeah.
inspiring. We
It
had
doesn't- it's
inspiring
what-
movies growing up.
Yep.
And that was one of them. How many kids come up and say, I mean, think about what that
It's
was
really
for
cool.
young people. Andy played, it was actually, it was a real film.
Yep.
It was much more in the tone of like a Rudy than it was some Disney Channel like
Right.
bumping around with some stupid,
true.
The filmmakers behind it were very good.
very good.
Yeah. They did a good job.
So I feel like, that was, you were phenomenal in
Thanks.
that movie.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that was not an easy performance to do, bro. That was
No,
like,
it wasn't. It was good.
yeah, it was really good. So
Very,
anyway,
very cool.
all right. Should I take a question now, guys?
You should.
All right, let me see here. I got a question. So I think it's Bryn Adair or Brian
Well,
Adair.
it's probably shortened.
Bryn. It's probably Bryn for something. But anyway, what is your dream car? Because she says that her husband is a car
Okay. Yeah.
fabricator.
Oh,
Dude,
very cool.
I know. If he ever wants to send me something,
Very cool.
_BRYNA. Okay. Please. No, my dream car. Well, look. My favorite cars in the whole world are Porsches. Right? They're my very, very favorite. I love them so much because the 911 in particular is the Porsche that I love. Obviously, I appreciate everything they've done with the sport utes and now the electrics and things, and the Panamera was a cool thing. But for me, I actually was a big fan of the 928, which was the risky business Porsche. But the 911 is the one that just has had I've loved that car ever since I knew what cars were, and I love cars. I love a lot of cars, but that is my very, very, very favorite car. I don't think there's a better driving experience in the whole world than a 911. The reason why I think they make the best car in the world is because, unlike a lot of cars, even some of your great ones like BMW and these things, it seems like every 5 or 7 years they have to completely reinvent the car. You look at this new BMW, the new 7 Series. Look, some people love it, some people hate it. I'm not a huge fan, but
Tell us how you really feel.
no, I'm not. I think it looks like just literally like a cinder block on wheels. So I don't know. I don't love the front lights. To me, it's not great. But I appreciate the technology. I just don't think it's wrapped in that beautiful of a package. And I'm an aesthetic guy with cars too. I love the craftsmanship of cars, right? So for me, the Porsche, unlike a revolutionary design, because every 7 years Mercedes looks to revolutionize, BMW revolutionize. We're changing everything. Porsche has been an evolutionary design, and their essential archetype for the 911, the shape, rear engine, how the car works, the workings of the car has essentially been untouched since its introduction. And all they do every year is just fine tune. So this evolutionary design, keeping the essence and the soul of the original 911, is essentially still intact today. Now, they've had different iterations, love it or hate it, the eggshell front lights and these things. People know if you're a Porsche person. I'm sure your husband will know. But not my favorite. But where we are today, this current 992 version is beautiful. I love the cars of the 80s. I mean, but Porsche is my dream car, always has been. And I love all the iterations of the 911. I love the S, I love the 4S, the Targa, the GT3 Tour is amazing. I love the Turbo and Turbo S. I'm a huge fan. So anyway, that's my answer to my dream car. And if your husband fabricates those, please send one out. We'll have the car on the pod. Thank you.
I gotta jump in on that because Joe, I mean, you gave me
Mhm.
a Porsche Turbo.
Right.
This sounds crazy.
Right. The silver one.
You gave me a silver Porsche
Sick,
Turbo.
dude.
It
You
was
look so good in that car, bro.
Yeah, but I shouldn't have had that car.
You love that car.
I loved it, but I shouldn't have had that
Yeah, I
car.
It was really cool.
And
Yeah.
a crazy thing, the reason why I want to say this, guy, I just thought about this. I was at a stop sign,
Right.
and a cab took the front end
Yeah.
of that car out.
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened?
Yeah, but go ahead. I'll let you tell it. I don't want to interrupt your story.
I was stopped, dead still.
Yeah.
A cab comes and takes, literally, he just was not looking.
Yeah.
He swore, and he just took the front end. I'll never forget it.
It hurt me more than it hurt you, I think. And I was like,
Anyway, beautiful car.
Yeah.
Now,
Terrible
I'll take it over.
story.
I'll take it over.
GT Silver.
That was
which
just
is
a
classic
terrible
Porsche
story.
color.
I'll take it here from I'm a truck guy.
Right.
I'm 100% a truck guy. I've had F-150s most of my life, but my favorite.
Oh, I know what you're going to say, bro, because it was my favorite.
1969
Yep.
gunmetal gray original Bronco.
Ford Bronco, baby.
Woo!
Dude, that car, there are still,
Woo!
the
What a
craze
truck.
for them has never been bigger now, right? Because they finally did a new Bronco that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And
Every
they have
time-
the Bronco
Pretty cool on
Raptors
there.
pretty good. But what's happened is the old Broncos have exploded in value.
I wish I kept that thing.
Dude, there is a company. Oh, man.
I
yes.
wish I kept
dude,
that thing.
that was one of the most beautiful cars
That hurts.
ever. Yeah.
Hurts not to have it anymore.
Yeah, that was one of the most beautiful cars ever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
ever,
like
bro.
a moment of silence. For
I
the
remember.
Bronco.
Do you remember how you taped up the
Wrap the roll bar.
Yeah, you wrapped the roll bar. Okay, there's this company out there. Shout out to Vintage Broncos.
I love vintage Broncos.
Vintage Broncos. You guys, and by the way, we've actually communicated. We've DM'd each other.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, they're fans of ours.
I've
believe it or
DM'd
not.
with vintage
Hey,
and we're
man.
fans of you
Broncos.
guys. If you guys ever wanted to build us a Brotherly Love Pod Bronco
Please.
69, guys, it would literally be the
Please.
greatest gift ever.
I
Anyway,
just loved the 69 before they went into the 70s because it was that it looked like a
Short.
Tonka truck
It
or
did.
something.
Dude,
had the
have
best.
you not been on Vintage Broncos?
Oh, no, I
All right, you got to go
I'll go
on
check it out.
IG, Vintage Broncos.
I'll go check it out.
Dude, their color schemes
I'm
and
genuinely
schematics,
still sad
their interiors.
thinking about Matt's
Oh my God,
Bronco.
you guys do the best work
we had a lot
ever.
of fun in that Bronco.
Dude, I learned how to drive.
You remember the American flag you
Without-
used to put in there
without-
at times too?
That
Without
was in an
power
era where that
steering.
was,
The big American flag. No,
It
people
didn't
still drive
have
the American
power.
flag. It was
It
great.
didn't have power steering.
No,
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 it
it
did not
didn't.
a power
No,
steering.
it
I was.
didn't.
I drove
Well, Vintage
it
Broncos
around.
takes to a whole nother level, guys.
Yeah.
Like they rebuild them from the inside, so these things drive like
I gotta
they
be
drive
honest.
like insane.
Now
Yeah,
this
Vintage
is, and
Broncos.
Well, listen, this is the reason
Shout out.
why I still don't have it. Is yes, it didn't have power steering. It used to stall going over the hill.
Right.
And I needed.
It looked better than it drove.
I needed a car that was.
Oh, man,
I
but
would
it-
it'd be dead at
Dude.
work. I needed a truck.
Well, it needed.
so I
it
moved
needed
over.
It needed a lot
and
of.
that's when I got my Lightning.
So wait a minute. I was going to say the
F-150
second favorite car you ever had.
Lightning!
I'll never forget
Woo!
this,
Dude.
and I'll tell your story. We were at
Our-
Spumante Ristorante on Ventura Boulevard. It was a nighttime. Matt had just picked up his Bronco, his 1997, I
Seven
think,
or eight?
Ford Lightning.
Yeah.
And then
It was
black.
that 6-second car, a 6-second truck. I mean, it was fast.
I gotta
man.
say this.
2-seater.
My buddy Vache, actually, his first car, I think, or one of the first cars he has was the exact same Lightning that Matt
Yeah,
had.
we've talked
Only
about it.
difference, exact same color, exact same thing. The only difference is it did not have that Cobra Viper hood, which you put on yours. But Vache still has his.
No.
And it's in mint. I mean, it's in mint condition. And I went over to his place and I saw it in his garage. And dude, I was like, Matt's got to see this. You die. It looks almost identical. It's crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
cool.
That Cobra
Yeah, that
hood
was so
sick.
fun.
And then
truck.
you put, which was really crazy at the time, you put the halogen LED.
did.
You put the halogen lights on it,
I did.
Yeah, it was so cool.
dude.
And it was
when
so
that thing
fast. Let me say
sounded so
a couple
good,
things.
dude.
One time.
By the way, Ford tried to do the Lightning again, but make it electric.
I know.
and it failed.
I was gonna
Yeah,
I was
dude,
gonna
it
look
tanked.
into it, but
They just
well,
literally
it's not ready.
stopped
It's
production.
not
It's not
ready.
ready for prime time.
one of the things I'll say is that
Were you in that truck with me that
Yes.
one time?
yeah.
Were you?
Yeah.
Was that you?
I'm trying to think of the Bronco.
We were coming. No, that was a
That's-
different story. I don't think you were
But
with
let
me.
Andy think about his stories because I want to hear
Okay,
both.
go,
of
There's
them.
so many of
Sorry,
them.
sorry,
Honestly, like the life of the Broncos flashing because I used to take it out so much when I was like 16 or 17 years old.
Yeah.
You remember you guys go down to remember Tony's?
I mean, this is kind of crazy, but I think every time Matt let me drive the Bronco, I came back with a date. That's how cool the truck was.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Like it was just the
Bronco was
coolest.
bomb, dude. The Bronco was bomb.
It was
that
the
my
coolest
my
truck.
55 Thunderbird was pretty dope too.
That was amazing as well. All right, so forget it. There's too much. We could go on for. I digress. We could go on forever. But I will say,
Your cars. Yeah, you got to do your
my
car.
dream cars.
Your
Well,
dream
I'll say
car.
my first car that I ever had was a Laguna Seca Blue M3,
Yes!
and that was set up by
I
Joe.
ordered that for
yeah.
him.
I didn't
He
know
wasn't
what
ready
to get.
for that. I shouldn't have
I was
ordered
not.
that.
I was not. I should have got something else. I was not ready. But then it set me
The car
down
was so dope,
a
but
slew.
he destroyed that car.
Then I had a slew of M3s that I destroyed over and over and over. But whatever.
Remember the blue, the navy blue one you had after that, the convertible M3.
I had a hard time
that was a
convertible.
sick
That
car,
was pretty-
dude.
Yeah.
That's right.
Dude,
Yeah.
that was a great
I
car,
love the
bro.
M3. I've always wanted, and now I mean I'm not the allure is not as much, but I've always wanted a C63 AMG. I don't know why.
Always wanted one of those.
Ooh.
Great car.
I've always thought they've been really
Interesting.
cool.
I didn't
My
know
favorite
that.
BMW right now
Always
is the
wanted one.
M2.
Yeah, M2's cool. All right, but
Sick.
dream car of all time, I want a 1969 Mustang Fastback, the Eleanor. That's what I want. Like I want one of those.
You always wanted that.
That
Ever
has
since Gone in
been
60 Seconds.
Yeah.
That honestly, I've always been interested in
That's
that car
super
ever
cool.
since I've been a little kid, and to this day, I still want one.
You know,
Like,
they build the Eleanors. They
I know.
build them perfectly.
I want one of
are
those.
Super cool.
if I also would love either a vintage Bronco or a Scout or a Defender,
Scouts are
something
cool.
like that.
Great.
Remember
That's
your old
really
guitar
cool.
teacher?
Yeah.
Those
Buddy
two,
Matlock.
oh,
a Scout,
gosh,
an orange
yeah.
one.
Buddy Matlock.
Those two cars are so sick.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess that's
All right.
probably it.
That's it.
And then I
Oh,
just
boy.
got to give a shout out to the Cybertruck
So
because I saw one.
I'm getting one.
Matt Black
I'm getting one.
on the road the
I
other
saw
day.
that. I saw that in the road. I don't know if it's the same one, but
I think this cowboy hat would look good in a Cybertruck.
Ooh,
they're crazy
man.
looking.
Doesn't
I
Elon
love it,
always wear
though.
cowboy
it's
hats?
crazy,
Right?
but
I just don't know what you do with it. Like, what do you do?
It's
with
I
it?
don't know.
It's a truck, but like
It's not a truck.
It's just a wedge.
It's a
Yeah.
home.
It
It
literally
is.
looks like you put it under a door.
It's a
you know, like to
generator.
keep it open.
Yeah.
It literally looks like a wedge.
Yeah, it's not.
I appreciate what they've done with it. I just don't know what the hell
think it's
I'm doing with
badass.
this
Just
Yes.
truck.
space. It's just super cool. I think. But no, I wouldn't. It's not like
It's like a Mars car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not something that. But super cool.
It is really cool.
Someone on the road.
It's just cool.
so
I'd
cool.
still rather have a '69 Bronco.
Oh, me too.
Oh, me too.
and I'd still rather have my Porsche.
I want an Eleanor. That's
Yeah,
really what I
for
want,
sure,
man.
For sure. I
So
just want to give a
bad.
shout out. 'cause I
Stinger
thought they were
Porsche
really
makes
cool.
vintage Porsche like vintage Broncos makes vintage Broncos. So they take all these 73 RSs and bodies like 81 body style of the 911 and they basically gut it, put it all original stuff but new workings, new underpinnings.
Very cool.
Oh, dude, they're Stinger Porsche. Again, hey, if you'd like to send us something, we'd be happy to see it. No, but it's yeah. I love cars so much. I could talk about cars for hours.
You could.
Thank you for the question.
Ladies and gentlemen,
What?
that's
Don't
it.
know.
No, we
it's
gotta do
over.
our cake.
All right, we
Okay,
got to. All right,
cake.
let's
Let's
end with our
let's
cake.
light some candles.
And
Yep.
sing happy birthday. to
Sing
me.
Happy
happy birthday. I'm
birthday.
gonna light this baby up.
We could slice this up 4 ways. That's
Yes.
unless
Four?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh yeah, we got to give Sam some.
Of course, he brought the cake.
Get it, Samsung.
Ah.
Got to give Samsung.
Not like song.
Okay, here
Ready?
we go. Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday
to you.
Happy
birthday.
What the? Andy, can you
Wow,
take some water? We
wait
can try.
there.
Wow,
Just
wow.
whoa.
Can we edit all that out?
Yeah.
No, we
It's
don't need to.
embarrassing.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Brotherly Love Podcast. Happy birthday to you.
And
Many more.
Who's blowing out the candles?
Hey guys, here's the 50 great episodes. Thank you so much.
who's blowing out the
Here's
candles?
the 50 more.
Thank
and 50 more of that.
you.
1,
Thank
2,
you.
3.
I don't need all of them. Hooray! Woo!
Love you guys.
Love you
Love
guys.
you guys. All right, I'm going to cut this up.
Love
baby.
you.
Yeah.
Love you. Love everybody out there. Cut the cake.
Thanks
we'll
for
see
being
you
a
next
part of
time.
this.
Yes, next week.
Yep, next Friday we will
On the
see
Brotherly
you
Love
guys.
Pod. God bless everybody. Thank you so much for getting us here. We look forward to seeing where this pod takes us, and we will
In
be
the
on the
next
road.
50.
That's right, and we'll be on the road too, taking the
Yep.
pod tour live.
See you soon,
New
everybody.
music, everything
Thank
coming.
you.
God bless. We'll see you later. Bye, guys. Hey, what's up, everybody? The
Lawrence brothers are here.
Thank you so much for enjoying this week's episode of the Brotherly Love Pod.
And if you want more of this show, check out our premium feed on Supercast.
That's right, where you'll see ad-free episodes, monthly AMAs, behind-the-scene content, and so much more.
That's brotherlylove.supercast.com to join.
Check out our link tree and subscribe on all platforms.
We'll see you all
Next week.